Hello everybody, welcome to my channel Com Concepts Pro. As the name suggests, here I will be explaining the concepts related to computer theory and programming like a pro. Some of my next lectures will be based on some important data structures like arrays and linked list. But in today's presentation, I will be covering the topic of an array. So here is the list of all the topics that we will be covering in this video. So let's begin with the topic. First, I'll give you a brief introduction about data structures. Friends, we all store a large amount of data in our computer, and in order to get it saved, we simply either click on the save button or give some commands to store our data, and our job is done. Now, the question is, where this data goes in the computer's memory? The answer is, there are special storage unit in the computer's memory to store our data. Just imagine in our home also we have got different storage units to store different kinds of things. For example, for clothes we need cupboards. For books we need bookshelves. For storing certain random things we require chest drawers and so on. Similarly, in computers programming also we need to store data in different types of storage units based on the requirement of our application. These storage units are called data structures. Some of the examples are arrays, linked lists, tables, union, records, classes and so on. Both our main memory which is RAM and ROM and our secondary memory which is hard disk require special data structures to get the data stored in them. As you can see here, I have shown a classification of the data types. I have taken C++ data type as illustration as this is the most common classification that most other programming languages use. So first is the built-in data type. This is also called as primitive data type. These are the data types provided to us by the programming language itself. These are integer, float and void, which are further classified into their sub-data types. Next are derived data types, which are derived from the built-in data types. What I mean to say is they are the modifications of our primitive data types only. Our today's topic, which is array, also falls in the category of derived data types. Next is user-defined data types, which are defined by the user as per the demand of the application. But here also the components of user-defined data types are still the primitive data types only. But here we can also include derived data types as the components inside user-defined data types. For example, if user declares a structure or a class, the elements can be either a built-in data type variable such as an int or a char and or derived data type as well such as an array. Now we'll discuss about array in detail. In a broader sense, array can be understood as a collection of elements that we want to store for our program or application. These elements should be strictly of same built-in data type. For example, all the elements should be either int or all of them should be float or char. In the computer's memory, all these elements are stored at contiguous memory locations, which means each element will be stored one after the other at adjacent memory locations. The programmer will provide a variable name for this collection, which is now called as an array. Remember, we cannot allot a keyword as the variable name. Now, all the elements of our array will have separate index value starting from 0 to n minus 1, where n is the total number of elements stored in our array. Each and every element of the array can be located with the help of this index or the subscript value. Let's see some more terminologies related to arrays. First is element. This is the item or the value that we store in the array. Second is index. This is the subscript of the element through which we locate the element. Now, as you can see in the figure, we have declared the data type of the array as int. That means all the elements that we have stored in the array are of type integer. Now this one, array. This denotes the name of the array. This can be any user defined name. This is basically a variable. Just remember, we cannot give the keywords as the name of the array. Next is size. This is the size of the array, which is 10. That means there are 10 elements in the array. But as you can see here, the index or the subscript value starts from 0 and ends at 9. Total, although there are 10 elements, but it starts from 0 and ends at 9. So this is the index or the subscript. This 0, 1, 2, 3, this is the subscript of a particular element through which we locate the element. Suppose if we have to locate a particular element, say an element at the subscript value 5, so the answer will be 19. So this is the written explanation of whatever I had explained to you in the previous slide. Just go through it. Now I will tell you about the default values stored in the array. Default values means if we only initialize the array like this, num10, where num is the user defined name, which means it is the variable name for the array, and the size is 10. That means we want to store 10 elements in the array, but as of now we have not stored any values in the array. Then in that case, the programming language itself will store default values in that. For example, if we have declared an integer array, default value will be 0. If it is a Boolean array, the value that is stored by default is false. Similarly, in case of float, the value will be 0.0 for all the elements. After that comes a very important concept of memory address location. I had told you earlier that all the elements of the array are stored at continuous memory locations. But will the address of each element in the memory will also be adjacent? No, because the base address allocation of each element depends upon the number of bytes each element occupies in the memory. Just have a look at this example. This is an integer array. The base address starts at 10,000. That means the address of its first element starts at 10,000. Now, because it is an integer array and integer occupies 4 bytes in the memory, the address of the next element will be 10,004. Even the next element will be present at the address 10,008 and so on. Similarly, if it will be a character array, the base addresses will be like 10,000, 10,001, 10,002 and so on, because character only occupies 1 byte in the memory. Similarly, for float also, the next address will be after 4 memory locations, and for long it will be after 8 memory locations. Now these are the operations that can be performed on an array. Traversal means just going through all the elements from starting to the ending. Search means to locate a particular element. Insert means to insert a new element in the array. For this we have to declare the array of a little bigger size than actual elements that we have inserted in the beginning. Deletion means delete a particular element from the array. Sorting means we have to arrange all the elements of the array in a particular order. This can be applied both on integer array as well as in character array. In case of integer array, we can sort our elements in descending order or ascending order, and in case of character array, we can sort our elements in alphabetical order. Merging means combining two arrays and then form a single array. Reversing means just reverse the order of all the elements which are already there in the array. All these operations can be very well understood by actual C or C++ programs. For that, I'll be uploading separate videos. You can go through them. So guys, thank you for watching. This was all about the topic of arrays. Please do like and subscribe my video and keep watching my channel for more updates.